we got some people on here now. It's a good time to show folks how to actually put a bar on correctly and adjust it. Cool. So, I do a lot of chainsaw work. What I see is a lot of times people will throw their bar and chain on. They'll adjust their chain tension, set this tight, call it a day. They'll run, a half a tank of gas through it and their chain's loose. So that's because they're not accounting for the downward pressure when they're cutting wood. So when you go to adjust your tension, you want to push the saw down, then adjust. That way you can get lots of tanks of gas through without the chain coming loose on you. So you're just simulating putting downward force on a piece of wood. So that's the correct way to do it. Make sure it spins. There we go. This is what I wanted to show off tonight. This is a Stihl 038 Magnum. This is a saw I've had for, probably 20 years. It's got put on the back burner, hasn't ran, and it's been a couple seasons just because it's getting tired. But if I needed a saw, I had to grab something, it'd still go. I wanted to pull this apart and take a little look at her. It's rocking the Hazelforma cheap bar on it. Last time we were using it, we had one of those little ladder sawmills, and my old man was cutting walnut with it. So, 038 Magnum it's kind of a staple in the saw world back in the day. The sprocket still looks good. That air filter, I put that RTV on there probably 10 years ago. I got a hole in it, and I RTV'd it. It'll work for a long time, obviously, but just a little tip for anybody who's curious. Yeah, you get a hole in your filter out in the field. You don't have a filter, but you got some RTV, send it. Let it cure up. It'll be just fine. I don't remember if I ever pressure tested this, but I remember it's turned into a hard starter. For gas. And the other reason, now that I'm working on this, the oiler, I believe it quit oiling, is the main reason My dad stopped using it. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think it's got an oiler problem too. Oiler and low on power. But let's see what we got going on here. That filter's been off so many times it's stripped out. The filter gets taken off to get ether stuffed in it, I imagine. Let's see here. Oof. Beautiful. Beautiful. I'm going to throw that back on real quick, real carefully. I don't know if that was loud on the YouTube or not. If it was, sorry. Fuel line looks all right. I'll put a little bit more gas in it. Good gas. See if this thing will spring to life. So a trick on these O series saws, 028, 029, 031, 038, 025, if you throw them on their side while you're filling your gas, obviously we let them sit there, it'll self-prime that bowl. So if your saw is typically a 5 to 6 puller, do this while you're screwing around, grabbing your bar oil and the other stuff, it might turn into, 3 or 4 puller. I'm a very opinionated guy when it comes to chainsaw stuff. It's the oil you should be using. So they'll probably tick off some of the chainsaw guys, but I've never blown one up on purpose. On accident plenty of times. All right, let's see how she rips here. She's not. There she's found, but didn't kick off choke. A little adjustment here. Seems like the low side's a little rich. Come on, girl, I ain't that cold. I've been getting my butt kicked lately on these adjustments. she's oiling. And for not starting in a long time, it fired right up. So maybe I have this saw mistaken for another one. I could have sworn it was an oiling problem and low power, but I don't know. Seems to be oiling pretty good to me. Well, you gotta love those kind of repairs. You know, the kind that don't need nothing. Sweet. Well, I guess it's a good time to do some cleaning. These old saws do have an adjustable oil pump too. Looks like more oil to the clockwise side. It wasn't even maxed out. Let's see if the oil's more. Well, we were using that 28-inch bar, so it's quite a bit of oil you're commanded. Oh yeah, she's oiling. Oh, 38 Magnum. Probably one of the best in my opinion. They were just tough. Back in high school, I sold firewood, and the first season I did it, we didn't have a hydraulic log splitter. We just had a maul. So this thing cut all the wood. All the wood I sold, I saved, and I bought a hydraulic log splitter. Oh, yeah, there's comments on here. This is my second live stream deal, so bear with me. Let's see what they're saying. Did you fart, bro? I might have. It happens. Fuel does not walk. Yeah, man. It's my shop, my rules. Tooting's allowed. If you don't fart, you're a liar. That's kind of neat. I've seen the comments thing on other streams, but I didn't know how it worked. So, figured I could do this YouTube thing, see if I can get enough people to watch me and let YouTube pay me some money, because that's the end goal, right? Root of all evil, money. And YouTube makes it hard. You got to have, 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time. The watch time's been the butt kicker. I got this rubber mat on here to try to prevent rubbing on the bottom of the case. Working on the steel workbench, because it's a welding table I built, so it's got little weld burrs, little nubs everywhere on it. So when I'm dragging it around, I'll grind it off. And old saws like this, it don't matter to me, but I got a couple new saws like MS 261C. I mean, brand new. So I didn't want to scuff just by sitting here adjusting the chain and playing with it. So I got this rubber mat. Try to keep that from happening. I could go across this table and just clean it all off, but it's a welding table, so it's always going to have little marks on it. But yeah, there we go. Look at that. I'm pretty pumped about this saw. Might be time for her to go back into the fleet. Let's say that's a win. Pick up a new air filter. Nah, let's clean it up. Yeah, it needs a new air filter. This thing's so stripped out. Yeah, 038 Magnum. If you guys can find the Magnum, people want stupid money for them too. Like the folks on eBay, I've seen NOS, so new old stock, supposedly new old stock 038 Magnums. They're asking like $1,600 on eBay. I mean, just ridiculous. For a good running one, good plastics on it, you know, $800-900. Forget that. But if you can find one of these for, you know, the run's good for the $350-400. I bet in good shape. This one's rough. This one's been sitting in the sun a whole bunch and thrown around and kicked. But I don't remember what chain I was running on that thing. That must have been 3/8. Oh, it was 3/8. So I think what we're going to do now, I think the 038 Magnum is a 72cc. So that being said, I believe what we want to do, it's got a 3003 mount on it. So you got small mounts is 3005, medium mount is 3003, and your big mount, your big boy saws, your 660s and stuff are 3001 or 2, I believe. So this is a medium mount in a Pico chain, 3/8 Pico, 16-inch. Why not? This thing's gonna be a ripper. A little 16-inch bar on a 72 cc power head with no chain catch. I can't think of a single thing that'll go wrong. Oh, get on there. The problem with these O-series saws is the adjuster's on the front. When they designed it on the sidebar, oh gosh, it was so much more convenient. And everybody forgets to clean up the side cover. Don't be that guy. You want to try to dissipate as much heat as you can out of your saw. Look at that, 125 people. That's pretty neat. If you guys see me doing something wrong, I suppose tell me. Probably won't believe you though. I'd have to scroll up for comment stuff. I don't know. move your chain, get everything centered up. And I don't know if everybody was here, but when you're putting your bar on, you got to push it down. Simulate you're pushing on wood. If you adjust it and tighten it here, as soon as you get to pushing in the wood, it's going to lift it up. It's going to loosen your chain. So if you start by pushing it down, it'll stay tight. I hope that makes sense. And then a correctly tuned chain, they say if you lift it, should see an X amount of drivers. My rule of thumb, if it spins good, you can pull both sides and see the bottom of the drivers. Be correctly tuned. Yeah, there. We got an 038 Magnum with a 16-inch Pico bar. So Pico is the narrow kerf of the drivers. It's a very narrow chain. So that being said, this saw and your standard wood, half throttle, 3/4 throttle is all you're going to need. Any faster than that, you got a chance of breaking that, but it'll be fast. It'll be really fast. All right. I'm on a roll. There's 2 saws down pretty fast. This one I've already worked on. 029 Super. Very good running saw, but I noticed it was leaking fuel on my floor. So I was going to check the O-ring real quick. On the gas cap. See, somebody installed this. I don't know if this is a cover or what that is, but I don't recall Stihl ever having this, or I've never had a saw with that. It's kind of a neat little option. It says Stihl on it though. I think the O-ring's just squished is what's going on. Should be able to fit a 1/4 under it for the of the chain to the bar. Fit a 1/4 under it, huh? What do you mean? You're saying take a 1/4 like that? Is that what you're talking about? I've never heard that. Should be able to fit a 1/4 under. All right. That's a new one. All right, but what if I can fit multiple 1/4s? Does that mean it's too loose? I'll be honest with you, I've been doing chainsaw stuff for decades. I've never heard that. I'm not saying it's wrong, I've just never heard that. I do pull the drivers on both sides. If you can see the drivers, you're good. Because you don't want too tight, because if you get them too tight, it's going to take out that nose bearing. I mean, because if I were to tighten this up, to only be able to get 1/4 underneath there, that'd be way too tight. But put some gas in this. The O-ring looks fine. Put some gas in it and let it sit on the floor and see if it leaks anymore. Yeah, man, if the quarter thing works for you, you've had no problems, rock on. I mean, I can see where it worked. Look at that. If that fuel cap's not leaking, that's the third saw down tonight. Here's a saw I dropped off. It is a, I think it's a 390, is what he told me. Not much info on it. Told me to, what did he tell me? I have to see what I wrote down. Hold on. He said, oh, see if runs. He just wants to know if it'll run. We can do that. All right, I believe he said it's a 390. I wrote down a 390. It's got a compression release. Looks like it's got a Chinese side cover. This says 311 on it. Let's see what the handle says. Yeah, the handle says 64cc 390. So it's got a side cover off a 311. The handle is a 390. Looks like it's got a, is that an aftermarket case or is that a Stihl case? Stihl's pretty good about marking their stuff. If you get an Amazon and a cheap, eBay case, it'll just be blank. Stihl's pretty proud of their stuff, so they'll stamp their name into it. And I could tell this was China just because of this center section. That, and it doesn't have the rubber assist pull lever that you would see on a Stihl. So that's a China recoil. Thank you, Sean. I appreciate it. Got a bunch of dust. No tether. Probably the best tool for chainsaw stuff. I'll show you why here in a sec. Because you can grab the hose and let go of it, and it'll stay out. Come on. See that? Doesn't fall back down in. Up in your filters and all my stuff. Just so I know that it's got a good filter. Hose look good, nice and pliable. Does have gas in it. I like my gas better. Theirs looks a little on the light side of blue. Sounded good. Nice O-ring sound. All right, let's see if this thing will run. See if runs is what the note said. So we'll choke it. I don't do the decompression stuff. That saw fired right up. What the heck? Why are people bringing me stuff? I don't understand. Huh. All right. Now tomorrow, I'll get it out in some wood and see if it's doing something. But, I mean, right off the rip, that started really good. And it's oiling. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure why this saw is here. It's got a Stihl drum on it. It was just a power head. Usually they'll tell you it's 325 or 3/8 or what, but I don't see it on this one. I don't know. That had to have been a fluke. See if she starts. Yeah, I'm not sure on that one. Well, that was just too easy of an evening. I got my 038. I'll run tomorrow. I'll check and see if that 029 is leaking gas. And then this one, I'll get in the wood tomorrow and make sure it's not bogging or doing something funny. But sprocket looks new. Brake works. Huh. Hard to say. Good deal. I'm pretty excited about that. Easy. All right. Just cause I figured I'd show you my 045 AV. That's not an AV. It's actually an 045 Super. I dropped a tree on the handle and broke it, and I had a parts 045 AV that was blown up, so I put the handle on it, so this is technically a sleeper saw. It's just a tank of a saw. don't know what the power head weighs. By itself, I'm gonna guess 17 pounds probably, maybe more. But just old school, real neat. It's a grab and go saw. If you need to go cut wood, grab it and go. I mean, it sucks to start, but it'll run. It'll go. Just bring some ether with you. But you got your gas, oil on the side, button over here on this side. Hold your trigger, choke, and your stop. No brake. All it's got is a little bump stop, so your hand don't go into the wood. But very cool. I'm not going to start this one. Look at those factory dogs. Man saw. Pretty cool. I'm not going to pull down all my collection. I got about 70 saws on the shelf, so they're all grab and go saws for the most part. If they're on the shelf, they're ready to go. And I got probably 40 other saws that need work. Then plus all the saws people bring me. I don't do saw stuff for a living. It's just a hobby. I mean, I do charge people, but I don't charge them very much. I just enjoy the shit out of it. I'll show you one more. This is my buddy saw. This is a saw. If you come calling and you want to borrow a saw, that's what everybody needs. Homelight 775G. Does run. Does. It's rocking 404 chain. Yeah, so I did a YouTube short. Oh, when I first started doing this, about needing a buddy saw. And I was truthful. This is my buddy saw. You need a saw? You can't break this one. And I promise you, that person who doesn't have a chainsaw that wanted to borrow one will never ask you to borrow one again. This is a 025 or MS250 in comparison. You can hide it behind it. So pretty neat old relic. It does run, it does go. Buddy saw. All right, guys, I appreciate everybody tuning in. I'm going to sign off, clean up, do some other stuff, but have a good one.